With almost 200,000 hotels in existence, it takes something special to stand out from the crowd.
Some hotels achieve a status that goes beyond 5 stars.
Proper service.
You have everything you could possibly want.
And satisfy the world's most demanding guests.
When you go there as a regular person, you are a celebrity.
This is where Clark Gable walked. This is where Marilyn Monroe walked. This is where stars of today walk.
It is no surprise for a guest to spend anywhere between $70,000 and $90,000 on room service alone.
Today, we're checking into a Las Vegas legend.
Caesar's Palace, the most extraordinary place, I think, on the planet.
Where high rollers live the high life.
You never know who you might see.
Dedicated to decadence from day one.
When you saw it for the first time, I felt like I was the queen.
My mother's 95 years old, and she still remembers the wine goddesses squirting the wine into my dad's mouth.
To discover the secrets of one of the world's greatest hotels.
Most of our customers, it would be no surprise for them to gamble $20,000, $25,000 a hand.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Las Vegas, known as the entertainment capital of the world. 40 million visitors every year will descend upon the 4-mile strip to explore the famous casino hotels. Each unique venue has helped put Vegas on the map. But there's one that's the key to them all.
Would I consider Caesar's Palace an icon on the Strip? I consider it the icon on the Strip.
Being the sovereign of the Strip for over 50 years hasn't been an accident.
Welcome to the lobby of Caesar's Palace.
As general manager, Sean McBurney knows the hotel better than anyone.
So in front of us we have the Three Sisters statue. This is one of the most photographed parts of the property. You can see whether people are taking their wedding photographs here or just filming in general. This is one of the most iconic parts of the property. Caesar's Palace was built for Instagram before people knew what Instagram was. So they want something that engages all of the senses, and I believe we hit those marks. It's not uncommon for us to check in more than 2,000 people on a given day to fill our almost 4,000 hotel rooms that we have. We'll do over 1 million room nights on an annual basis. And it's also so recognizable from the movies. So everybody has seen The Hangover, and they recognize that hotel front desk. They remember the exchange. Did the real Caesar live here? So as soon as someone comes in, they're immersed into what Caesar's Palace is. And it's one of the most iconic front desks in the entire world.
For many of those guests, it's all about having a flutter in the hotel's world-famous casino.
As you look straight ahead, you'll see the Dome Casino, original from when the property opened in 1966. As a matter of fact, we have dealers that have been with us since the first day the property opened in 1966. So you can imagine what it would be like to sit at a blackjack table and play blackjack with the dealer that dealt to Frank Sinatra. So the stories are pretty remarkable.
Covering 85 acres, the resort lies at the very heart of the Las Vegas Strip. There are 6 hotel towers, housing nearly 4,000 rooms, a vast concert venue, 9 bars and clubs, 15 restaurants, one of the highest grossing shopping malls in the US, and of course a 24-hour casino. Over 6,000 staff are on hand to help transport you to the decadence of the Roman Empire, although orgies aren't offered by the hotel. But the Las Vegas of today is a universe away from how it all began.
Vegas was a place which was used by Southern Californians to escape and to do the sorts of things that you wouldn't be able legally or easily to do in Los Angeles or Hollywood. But it was all a bit small scale, all a bit seedy.
Basically just desert, the city of Las Vegas was founded by the railroad in 1905 as a watering station between Salt Lake City and Los Angeles.
Back in 1905, Las Vegas was very flat, very dry, very dusty. You know, originally there were some tents, later they built actual buildings. Las Vegas really struggled for many years, and then in 1931, the Nevada legislature legalized gambling. They also legalized quickie divorces, which meant that you would only have to stay in Nevada for 6 weeks before you could get a no-fault divorce. And both those things, as well as the construction of Hoover Dam, really brought Las Vegas to the forefront.
As well as quickie divorces, on-the-spot weddings were also de rigueur, but not necessarily in that order. As more people arrived throughout the 1930s and 40s, gambling dens sprung up across the city and Vegas began to take shape. By the 1950s, the mob had the monopoly, creating hotels like the Flamingo. But a visit by a man called Jay Sarno would change everything.
My father had come out here on a junket and gone to the Flamingo. He was a pretty serious gambler, or a pretty out-of-control gambler. And, but that also meant that he understood the customer, because he was the customer. And he looked at what was here and said, I can do better than this.
He took a junket here and stayed in Las Vegas, stayed at the Flamingo, and he totally hated it. He thought it was the most boring place ever. And instead of leaving a bad Yelp review, he said, you know what? I can do better. I'm going to come back and build my own hotel and show these people how it should be done.
Not put off by the rather intimidating competition, Sarno's vision was to create a world where ordinary people could immerse themselves in luxury and decadence.
He was enamored of sort of the distorted vision of ancient Rome that came out of Hollywood movies, as, you know, the opulent living, marble and fountains and beautiful women feeding you peeled grapes and living like a Caesar, and he just thought this was the best idea for how you ought to live your life. He was also a big fan of Walt Disney and the whole concept of Disneyland and the idea of deep immersive theming, that idea, and use these visualizations, which aren't very historically accurate, of ancient Rome. And we can marry the two together and create a Disneyland for adults, and he plopped it down on the Strip, and it's Caesar's Palace.
After nearly 2 years and $24 million, Sarno had created a 14-story Roman-themed Fantasyland. 5 60-foot-tall fountains lined the driveway. The swimming pool, replicating the bathing pools in Rome, was made from Italian marble, and the hotel entrance was adorned with Roman statues.
A lot of people in Las Vegas thought it was going to be a disaster. They really didn't think Caesar's Palace was going to work. But Jay knew what people wanted, and they didn't want luxury, they didn't want authenticity, they wanted the appearance of luxury, and they wanted to have fun.
The only thing left to do was show it off. After nearly 2 years of construction, costing $190 million in today's money, ancient Rome had landed in Vegas. Jay Sarno's hotel was finally finished.
They built the hotel for $24 million, and they blew the last $1 million on a really big party.
The opening party for Caesar's Palace, August 5th, 1966, was absolutely bonkers. There was an airline strike, so they had to charter planes to fly the high rollers in from the East Coast.
It started with the invitations, which were these large scrolls. For a select number of people, you receive your invitation by hearing a knock on your door, and you'd open it, and there would be a great big tall actor standing there dressed as a Roman centurion who would say, "Are you so-and-so?" And you'd go, "Yes." And he would unfurl the scroll and read it like a messenger reading Caesar's commands to you. And they flew people all over the country to hand-deliver invitations. They were very strategic in making sure that all of the people who needed to know about this new place were going to come to it, and they were going to see it at full throttle.
As guests arrived, they were greeted by toga-clad hostesses, ready to indulge the guests. Jay Sarno arrived on a Roman chariot. And over the course of 3 days, 1,800 guests drank 50,000 glasses of champagne and feasted Roman style.
I think it held a record for the largest single purchase of caviar for one event in the U.S. at the time.
You know, they had filet mignon, they had lobster. It was a 3-day party. Andy Williams was the singer. You had the governor here. It was just totally surreal, totally surreal. Right out of the gate, Caesar's Palace became the most successful casino in Las Vegas.
The impact of Sarno's adult playground was immediate, and it revolutionized the entire hotel experience.
The whole idea was, this is the place where you become Caesar. You become the ruler, who will be indulged beyond your wildest dreams. And that was really the origin of the name. It was kind of the most savvy, sort of brand-driving decision they made.
With 700 ultra-modern bedrooms, including wall-to-wall shag carpeting, floor-to-ceiling windows, round beds, and even whirlpool tubs, the hotel was a haven for high-stakes gambling, top-class entertainment, and pure indulgence.
Well, it took a very little time, whatever skepticism may have been in existence before it opened, to be swept away with the sudden realization that this is what it was going to be like in the future if you were going to be competitive. And that, of course, within a short order, triggered a wave of people trying to step it up and copy it. And so Caesar's Palace caused everyone to up their game and change how they looked at their business. Generic was no longer possible.
Today, Sarno's legacy is alive and well. Adam Miller is Senior Director of Hotel Operations, making sure every whim, no matter what, is taken care of.
We've had one celebrity that had a particular type of chip that we could only find in a Chinese market in downtown Los Angeles, and we sent a butler there. We flew them out to Los Angeles to bring them right back to have them hand-delivered right to the customer. It is no surprise for a guest to spend anywhere between $70,000 and $90,000 on room service alone here at Caesars.
We're very discreet. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
And for some, what's happened at this hotel has stayed with them forever.
My mother's 95 years old. She's still talking about a dinner she had at the Bacchanal room. It was an all-you-can-eat restaurant, but it was a super fancy all-you-can-eat, like a Roman bacchanalian feast, eating and eating until you started to explode, and then there was no vomitorium, as I understand it, but it had everything but that. And she still remembers the wine goddesses squirting the wine into my dad's mouth, and then they had their pointy bullet bras and everything on. It was, it's just so classic 60s. But it was considered one of the great restaurants in town.
After the hotel's opening party in 1966, its popularity soared.
Caesars suddenly became the place. And you might stay somewhere else, but that's only because you couldn't get a room at Caesars.
Now, with nearly 4,000 rooms, including 600 suites, villas, and penthouses, there's something for everyone.
We are a property that really does cater to everyone. Right? You can have your very basic room. I want to stay in Las Vegas. I want that Vegas experience. To your very, very private. I don't want to see anybody. I want to come in through a side entrance and stay in a villa or a penthouse.
But to really live like a Caesar, there are a handful of secret villas for the A-listers and the highest of high rollers.
Follow me, I'll take you into our master bedroom here.
Costing, on average, $15 million to build, Adam must make sure they are VIP ready.
You walk into this master bedroom that features this very large, custom 8-foot by 8-foot emperor bed with 17 pillows and handmade linen all the way from Italy. So there's only 14 of them in the world. A room like this at Caesar's Palace would go for $35,000 US a night. When we have a major celebrity that will stay here, it is not uncommon to spend 8 to 10 hours to set up their pre-arrival list with all of their requests ahead of time.
I can't prove this, but I would make the argument that Caesar's Palace has likely hosted more celebrities, royalty, than likely any hotel in the world.
We have had every major celebrity from Celine Dion, Rod Stewart, Sir Elton John. We've had Mariah Carey, the list goes on. No master bedroom is complete without a large, spacious master bathroom. We have everything from gold fixtures, We have a jetted tub with this beautiful stone, hand-laid mosaic tiles, and the large, spacious steam shower. I think you could fit pretty much nearly everyone.
Each villa has its own lounge, games room, terrace, and bar, known to stock $50,000 wine. A 24-hour butler is on hand, and should you need to pop out, there's a chauffeured car and the hotel's own private jets.
Sometimes the butler will take the family shopping, or sometimes they'll go to California for the day. And so there's many ways outside of just being here at the gaming table.
But there's always time for a quick flutter.
Most of our customers that will come into the casino, it would be no surprise for them to gamble $20,000, $25,000 a hand, all the way up to $250,000 a hand.
During the hotel's 50-year history, millions of visitors have gambled billions of dollars. But one visitor's gamble brought the hotel to the attention of the world.
So the first event that put Caesar's Palace on the map, nationally and internationally, was Evel Knievel jumping over the fountains.
Robert Craig Knievel, also known as Evel Knievel, was a small-time stuntman.
He was pretty small potatoes. He would jump over a few cars at a country fair. You know, he was kind of a small-town, western, you know, county fair circuit stunt act.
Visiting the hotel for the first time, Knievel had a game-changing idea. He just needed Jay Sarno's approval.
So we're out here in front of the hotel, and Evel Knievel decided he would want to jump his motorcycle over these fountains, and he talked my dad into doing it. They both realized it would be a public relations windfall, and my dad was getting a clown who was willing to risk his life for free to do it, and they had set the ramp up over on that side to start the jump, right out here between the second and third fountains, and the landing ramp was over here on this side.
The distance from one side of the fountains to the other was 141 feet, almost double Knievel's biggest jump to date.
I was standing on top of the porte cochere up here in front of the hotel, behind the last fountain, and with my brother and my father, and we watched the whole thing happen, unfold in front of us.
The jump attracted a good deal of local attention. Certain of his success, Knievel funded a film hoping to sell it later to the highest bidder.
Nobody knew who Evel Knievel was, but hey, some guy jumping over on a motorcycle, jumping over fountains, I'll watch that.
Evel Knievel was quite a showman, but he wasn't much of a mathematician. He didn't really know how to plan out this kind of thing. He just kind of guessed.
In front of thousands of onlookers, he successfully cleared the fountains, but mistimed the landing.
My dad grabbed my brother and I was 9 at the time, and we went off to the hospital. I, in a very upset way, asked that on the ride home, is Mr. Knievel going to die? And my dad said, no, he might walk with a limp. He's going to be fine. But that's not what you're going to read in the paper tomorrow.
Sarno and Knievel saw an opportunity.
My dad went around the hospital and knew that the nurses and doctors speak to reporters. So anyone he saw pushing a room or a cart, he'd pull them aside and peel off a $100 bill, which was a lot of money in 1967. And he would say, listen, if anyone from the press talks to you, you tell them Evel Knievel is within an inch of his life. He's in a coma. He might not make it. They don't know what's going to make it till the morning. It's touch and go. And they'd say, okay, Mr. Sarno, we'll tell him that. So they did not describe his real condition at all, which was not life-threatening. It was limp-threatening.
Sarno and Knievel had managed to pull off one of the greatest publicity stunts in Vegas to date, and probably invented fake news. Both Knievel and the hotel were household names, and the two men's relationship was sealed.
You know, I interviewed Evel Knievel. Actually, it was just a couple of weeks before he died, and he said, well, you know, when I get to where I'm going next, Jay's gonna be the first person I see. And I'm like, oh, come on, Evel, don't, you know, you're indestructible, don't talk that way. But, I mean, they really were close. I mean, they really were close. And they both were showmen, they both were gamblers. I mean, they spent a lot of time gambling together, you know, borrowing money from each other, you know, commiserating when they lost. So these really, they kind of were kindred souls in a lot of ways.
Caesar's Palace, the hotel that put Vegas on the map.
I can name you 10 hotels. The Wynn, the Aria, the Cosmopolitan, the Bellagio. I mean, wonderful hotels, but none of them approach Caesar's for iconic status.
In 1966, it was one of the most groundbreaking hotels in the world, inspiring a whole new wave of themed fantasy resorts.
Caesar's was, at the time, the most extraordinary place, I think, on the planet.
You know, it raised the bar for everyone.
Designed to evoke the hedonism of ancient Rome, pleasure seekers have been making the pilgrimage for over half a century.
Caesar's Palace is still as iconic as it was when it first opened, because it opened as the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire lasted a very, very long time, and so is Caesar's. When you saw it for the first time, I felt like I was the queen, and this was my palace. And I think everyone felt that way.
And the palace's main attraction was, and always will be, the casino floor.
We have almost 2,000 gaming positions across the property. It's everything from blackjack and baccarat to three-card poker, roulette, all the staples obviously are here. Yeah, to see a crowded craps table where someone's on a hot roll and you hear the energy, you can feel it throughout the entire dome. It's really an exciting place.
Crucial to each game played is the skill of the dealer.
We need dealers that have the right training, but they also have the right set of experiences because we have a very broad set of customers. We have customers that have sat down at a blackjack table and have never played blackjack. And so the dealer has to be able to provide them some kind of appropriate direction. And then you have very skilled gaming customers that can be challenging.
There is one dealer who has perhaps more experience than any other in Vegas. Benny Figgins is one of two remaining staff who've worked at the hotel since opening day.
Well, I was fortunate to work here at Caesar's Palace in 1966. It's just like being in paradise. You know, you come to work every day, and you never know who you might see. I had the opportunity to deal to Frank Sinatra, Samuel Davis Jr., Diana Ross, Harry Belafonte. It was the blackjack game. When I first dealt to Sinatra, he walked up, he had 2 or 3 guys with him, he'd sit down. I mean, I was shocked, you know, but I kept my cool. And he sit down and we start dealing and everything. He had a smile on his face, I smiled, and hey, it was nice. It seemed like I was in heaven, you know. He played about maybe 2 hours, then he got up and left. He ended up losing.
By the time the hotel opened, Frank Sinatra was already a Vegas veteran and a casino owner's dream.
You know, Frank Sinatra kind of was one of the first huge stars that was known for playing Vegas, and he drew the most gamblers in Las Vegas history. If you were running a casino and you wanted people to come and you wanted them to play craps, play blackjack, you brought Frank Sinatra in. If you wanted to entertain them, you brought Liberace in. If you wanted to fill a big room, you brought Elvis. But if you wanted the gamblers, you brought Frank.
Sinatra had been headlining at the Sands Hotel since 1953, bringing the infamous Rat Pack with him. Sinatra's days at the Sands, however, were numbered.
He absolutely loved gambling. He enjoyed it a lot, and it was a great way to release himself after his shows. I mean, to get rid of that energy.
Babs Daitch was Sinatra's social secretary.
In those days, the top names, the top artists, used to always get a little perk, and usually it was in gambling chips, and they used to use it to play. But then it helped the hotels too, because people used to flock around the tables and stay there, and your high rollers wanted to play with him.
It was during a late-night gambling session at the Sands that everything went wrong.
If you ran out of your chips and you still wanted to continue your hand, you just call over the pit boss and they'd extend credit to him. Well, that one night they didn't extend any more credit than $3,000, and he got furious. But the whole thing, I think, really stemmed from the fact that Howard Hughes, the billionaire, owned that hotel.
So Frank Sinatra and Howard Hughes had a long history together. They were rivals for Ava Gardner's affections, and Frank was very touchy about Ava.
After a brawl with the manager, Sinatra packed his things and left, heading straight for Caesars.
So Frank Sinatra came to Caesars because they had an opening, and he got the word this was where you wanted to go.
Frank's arrival at the hotel heralded a new beginning.
They almost wanted to call this place Frank's Palace. No one passed through Vegas without seeing him, whether it was Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher and Richard Burton and Gregory Peck and Lucille Ball. Marilyn Monroe even was here, and they all wanted to see his show.
He came to be one of the most successful headliners at the Circus Maximus, which was Caesar's Palace's big showroom, and really helped to define Caesar's Palace as a place for serious entertainment.
Sinatra would go on to perform on and off for a total of 10 years, paving the way for some of the greatest headline acts of all time. And on the casino floor, Benny has met most of them. But there's one person he encountered that tops them all.
The most important person I met here was my wife. I met a lot of celebrities and they was good, but the most important was my wife. And she was working upstairs and she's just walking by. And I caught her on my eye, clink over there. I said, oh.
Las Vegas is as popular for weddings today as it was when the quickie wedding was first introduced. And the hotel is one of the most popular venues on the Strip to tie the knot.
For the ceremony, we'll just do 2 sets of vows. The first set, you just say, I do at the end of them. The ring vows you're going to repeat, but I'll just give you 3 or 4 words at a time. And then I'll pronounce you husband and wife. You'll kiss. If you can follow directions, you're going to have a great marriage.
I like that.
In 1931, in addition to legalizing gambling, Nevada state made it possible for anyone to obtain a wedding license on the spot, no questions asked. And in a city where nothing was off limits, the no-holds-barred Vegas wedding was born.
Let's get this going.
At the hotel, Martha Morales organizes up to 600 weddings each year. From the unusual...
So we had a furry wedding, our first furry wedding, and it was where both the couple, the bride and the groom, both wear like these big costumes and their guests as well. So that was very unusual. I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone say I do with their face covered, but it was interesting to see that one for sure.
To the more traditional.
This bride is very, very low-key. We just have 2 arrangements and petals. We have a huge walk-in refrigerator where we keep all our floral because as you can see today, we don't have a lot. This is really very minimal. Sometimes we can have tons of floral arrangements, so the floral can get pretty elaborate depending on what the bride wants. Last year, we had 1.4 million flowers delivered to Caesar's Palace for our groups, and I believe this year is growing. We just hosted a very, very lavish wedding that probably had about 20,000 roses, pink roses. It was unbelievable.
The hotel has 3 wedding chapels, with couples spending between $1,000 and $40,000 a pop.
I think why people want to get married in Vegas, it's because you can have anything that you want, literally. Meaning you can elope within 2 hours. We've had weddings that in 2 hours, we can facilitate everything for you, or we have couples that have been organizing their wedding with us for 2 years. Are you excited? Are you ready? Are you Stuart? Stuart, Martha, very nice to meet you. Thank you so much. So Katie's very excited. She's very excited. She looks beautiful. She's beautiful. So we're excited. Sometimes we do wait on the bride, sometimes the groom, sometimes the entire family. We've even waited for a dog to get here. We couldn't start the wedding. We couldn't start the wedding until the dog got here before we started everything.
For today's couple, the wait is over.
It's my honor and privilege to pronounce that you are husband and one, so that you may kiss your bride.
But some people still have it all to play for.
We had a groom, a gentleman, I should say, that reserved a slot in our calendar in a chapel, and he didn't have anyone to get married to, but he knew he was gonna get married. That I've never heard of that. And I thought it was like, wow, you're putting it out to the universe that you want to get married. So fine, we can hold a slot for you. We have a garden held for him in case he does find his loved one, which we're hoping he does.
Having a vision and following a dream certainly paid off for Jay Sarno when he created his fantasy hotel. But having brought ancient Rome to modern Las Vegas and established Caesars as one of the places to be, in 1969, Jay Sarno sold his hotel.
There were issues that my father had with competing attitudes about how to run the hotel. He had partners, and his personality was such that the energy and excitement of creation was really what he wanted. Once it was up and running and stable, he would kind of lose interest.
The thing about Jay Sarno was that he was a gambler at heart, and it wasn't winning that he wanted, it was, having the action, having the chance to win. And throughout his life, he just kept on trying new things all the time.
For Sarno, the gamble well and truly paid off. The new owner, entrepreneur Clifford Perlman, paid $60 million, over $400 million today, for the privilege.
A friend who knew a cousin in another city who said he talked to the Perlmans and said, "Why did you pay Sarno that much money for the hotel?" And the answer was, "We realized it didn't matter what we pay him, he's going to walk in here and gamble it all back anyway."
Jay went on to open Circus Casino and made plans to build more hotels in Vegas, but his heart and soul remained in Caesars.
He technically only owned it for 3 years, but we still came around all the time because he was gambling. And my little sister jokes that my dad sold it, but you couldn't tell.
Jay Sarno Sr. passed away in 1984 in a suite at the very hotel he created.
I think Jay Sarno has a huge legacy in Las Vegas. He founded Caesar's Palace, which for a generation was the top high-end casino, and also Circus, which for a generation was the top low-end casino. So I think really if you look at casinos in Las Vegas and really anywhere in the world, you see his influence.
For over half a century, Caesars has been the bedrock of the Las Vegas Strip.
Places like hotels and restaurants age in dog years. I mean, 1 year takes a lot out of them. And this place has stayed current and stayed vibrant and kept all of the great qualities that keep it famous. And I don't think many hotels could accomplish that.
One of the areas of the hotel that's aged better than most is the food.
I used to call Las Vegas the town that taste forgot. I mean, we're the home of, cheap buffets and huge prime ribs, and all of that slowly became eclipsed by these great restaurants and chefs that started showing up around 1998.
And the hotel was at the forefront of this dining revolution.
Jesus, when did we cook these? When did we put these out?
Executive chef Jennifer Murphy is making her daily rounds.
Did you taste it? Good. Okay. So we just need to taste and make sure everything's seasoned. Tastes pretty good. It's cooked nice. Nice and hot. I stop by each restaurant, check in on the teams, make sure that they have everything they need. And then, of course, there's a lot of quality control that needs to happen, so I'm eating a lot. I know it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. No, it's good. It's perfectly seasoned, yeah. Being the chef of this property is a huge responsibility. It's such an iconic brand, and we have some really big names to back up. Nobu, Gordon Ramsay, the Vanderpumps, Giada, Bobby Flay. I mean, the list goes on and on.
But perhaps the hotel's most famous eatery is the modern take on the original Bacchanal restaurant, an all-you-can-eat buffet.
As a restaurant critic, I mean, I'm hardwired to hate buffets. I just am. I mean, it's mass-produced food for lots of people. It's not that sort of snobby Epicurean stuff that we food snobs go for all the time. But if I'm gonna eat at one, I'm gonna eat at this one.
With 9 show kitchens, each with a different theme, serving 500 different dishes, this isn't your regular pub carvery.
Here we are at the American Station at Bacchanal Buffet. We have a wide range of offerings, anything from chicken and waffles, macaroni and cheese. We offer an American Wagyu steamship, prime rib, brisket. I mean, look at this thing. How could you resist? They can slice it as thin or thick as you want it. Where else can you find Wagyu in Las Vegas? Where else can you find foie gras? Where else can you find truffles? You know, we have all those things on our buffet. We have 11 chefs who lead the team, 120 cooks. So it takes an army to get something like this going and to provide this type of experience every day. We feed roughly 3,000 guests a day at the buffet. That adds up to over 1 million people a year. That's 30,000 plates a day and over 12,000 pounds of crab legs a day at Bacchanal Buffet.
It's incredibly hard. I mean, in just the logistics of cooking for hundreds of people an hour and have it turn out, it's more spectacular than an army trying to feed a battalion.
This is the best in the business. These guys work hard. They know what they're doing. They're experts. And this, by far, hands down, is the best buffet in Las Vegas. Nice job, man.
But for some, the good old days will always be missed.
Caesars was known for the Bacchanal room for decades. Okay, then they closed it, and then it resurfaced as the buffet. But it's a great buffet. It's not quite the same thing. I'd like to say, let's go back to old school Roman orgy dining. That's what we need in this town, more Roman orgies.
In a little over 50 years, the hotel has been transformed, significantly outgrowing its original plot of 34 acres to a whopping 85 acres. With each new owner adding their own touch of pizzazz.
The original part of Caesar's Palace is the building that says Caesar's Palace on it. Pretty small, but that was the acorn from which the oak grew. You know, that's the original thing. Everything else has been added on. Of course, the casino really expanded. They added the Palace Tower in the back, and then in the 2000s, you had the Augustus and Octavius Towers added on. Of course, the Colosseum there. Early 2000s, that's where Celine Dion performed and where many other people perform today.
The scale of the property is hard to grasp. I mean, if you would have stood here 50 years ago, you could not have imagined it would look like this today. But I didn't have any sense at that point that it was going to reshape Vegas into something completely different. And I didn't understand how it was going to change the business model into a fantasy immersion-based model.
Jay Sarno's vision of a themed paradise had been a success, creating a benchmark for the entire city.
I think that Caesar's Palace saved Las Vegas in a lot of ways. Las Vegas was growing but very ordinary, and I don't think it would have survived, and it definitely wouldn't have grown the way it had if you hadn't have had Jay Sarno come here and build the fantasy that is Caesar's Palace.
Modern Las Vegas is a far cry from the dusty desert town founded at the turn of the 20th century.
One of my fantasies is to find somebody who's never been to Vegas, never heard of Vegas, didn't know anything about Vegas, and just bring them here and don't tell them about it, and just drive them down the strip and watch them pass out.
Many great casino hotels now grace the 4-mile strip, but this hotel carries the weight of its history.
Most of the casinos that were here when it was built in 1966 are long gone. Yet Caesars continues to survive and thrive, and the reason is that it's got a great theme, it's got a great basic idea, and they've not been afraid to evolve it, to keep it modern, to keep it moving with the times.
Every morning I pull into the front drive of Caesar's Palace and I see these 6 enormous towers, and I drive past the Colosseum. We have 6,200 team members that are just boasting with pride to be here. There's no question this is the best hotel on the Strip.
And for Jay Sarno's son, it's more than just a hotel.
I think Caesar's Palace is still about coming to a place that's otherworldly. It's a fantasy. It's a place where you can come and be a Caesar, just as it always has been. And for a hotel to have remained for 50 years and still be vital, still be at the top of the heap, that's pretty unprecedented. It's still the brand that's known all over the world, and it's really, it feels awful nice to know that what my dad created, you know, has outlived him and outlived so much of what else was in this city.